What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. This is part of my daily tips series, and no, I'm not talking about actual fishing today. Today we're going to highlight a little bit about co-anglers and some of the things that I've learned over the years of fishing on the pro side and things that will help you as a co-angler the next time you're on the water. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would really love it if you did so. I'm going to give you like 3 seconds here and just go ahead and subscribe. Alright, I hope y'all got that hit that subscribe button. Thank you for doing that. Comment below, what is one thing that a co-angler should know when they go in the water? You know, we all fish all these tournaments, and I meet a lot of great co-anglers, and I don't really have as many bad stories about them, and I'm not even going to tell you the bad ones. I'm just going to tell you how you can be better the next time you're on the water to help you catch more and bigger bass. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this video. Alright guys, today's video is going to highlight a little bit about co-anglers and how you can be better the next time you're on the water. Today I'm not going to talk about etiquette. I'm not going to talk about what you should take on the boat or anything like that. I'm not even going to talk about having bad pros, because we do have those sometimes, I promise. There's some bad pros. There's some bad co-anglers. Today though, I'm going to talk to you about how to catch more bass behind your pro. You know, I think that's something that a lot of times a lot of co-anglers kind of overthink. So I'm going to give you a couple situations to help you the next time you're in the back of the boat of a pro that has been on the water for a few days. So the world's worst thing that you can do when you get in the back of a boat of a guy that's been fishing is throw the exact same bait that pro is fishing. Now, there's certain situations where it works, and certain situations where it absolutely is the worst thing you can do. One situation where it would work to catch more fish behind your pro doing the exact same thing is if he's going way too fast. You have to pay attention. So let's say, for instance, your pro is flipping cover. And I'm not just saying bushes, but maybe the bank just in general, like a bluff bank, for instance. And he's got his troll motor on 80, and he's burning down the bank, just flipping about every 7 yards. You absolutely can flip behind that guy. Flip every place that he does not flip. You got to pay really close attention. You got to say, okay, he flipped by that rock. I'm going to flip 3 foot next to that rock. So I'm going to flip away from it. Maybe there's something under the water that he doesn't know exists. In that situation, absolutely, throw the same thing. But if he's going methodical, and I'm talking about Gary Klein slow, just like flipping every 5 inches, you're wasting your time, guys. I promise. Don't do it behind him. Those guys are methodical. They're picking it apart. You cannot catch them on the same thing. One thing to take note of is color. So if your pro is throwing green pumpkin and he is smashing them on green pumpkin, you should probably throw a green pumpkin color bait. I'm not saying the exact same bait, but the color. So we don't need to focus as much on maybe the style of bait, but sometimes the color is important. So that pro might have been out there for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. I mean, he's been out there for a while, and he may have honed in on a specific color. So it's really important to pay attention to that situation. Now, there's 2 trains of thought as a co-angler. I've got some great co-angler friends, and they're actually really good fishermen. And most of them have made their transition to the front of the boat. I was actually blessed enough to have Brian New get in the back of my boat at Beaver Lake, and I saw that guy absolutely crush him behind me. I mean, that was, I think he caught 13 pounds that day. I mean, he absolutely crushed him. And 13 pounds on Beaver Lake is like catching 19 pounds or 20 pounds on Sam Rayburn. I mean, it's a bag. And so I watched him do it. He was throwing a finesse worm on a shaky head. I was throwing a trick worm on a shaky head. And now, granted, this was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And he absolutely kicked my butt. Was it that he was throwing a 5-inch worm, I was throwing a 7-inch worm? Probably had a little bit to do with it. But he was also extremely patient. You know, he drug his worm way slower than I did. And I really paid attention to what he was doing too, because he kicked my butt. And he's probably one of the very best co-anglers of all time, if not the best. Another great example is a buddy of mine, Casey O'Donnell. Casey is from Guntersville, won the Guntersville Costa event there. And his train of thought was he fished for big ones all day. He did not fish for little fish. So, okay, so where are we at here? So we actually can target. You, as a co angler, can target specific size fish based off the baits that you're at. And you know, there's certain places that if all you do is fish for big ones, you're going to get your butt kicked because there's going to be a ton of 2-pounders in the lake, and it only works in certain situations, and more so in really tough events. Places where it's really hard to catch that 3 to 5 fish limit depending on the trail that you're fishing. In the case of Casey, what he did is he picked up a really big lipless crankbait. I'm talking about a 1-ounce lipless crankbait, and he threw a big chatterbait with a giant trailer on it, and it was on Guntersville, and he was trying to catch the biggest fish that he could every day, and he did. He caught a couple big ones every day, and that was enough to push him over the edge. Now, I hate to give away Casey's secret there, but that is a train of thought. The other train of thought is to do like what Brian New did. What he knew is, he knew I was throwing a shaky head. I was throwing a Zoom trick worm. I was throwing a 7-inch worm. He was like, you know what? I can throw a shaky head too, but I'm going to downsize my worm. I'm going to try to get more bites than him because not every fish in the lake is going to eat that worm. So there's that is probably the coolest aspect of it, is you can actually power fish from the back or try to maximize your bites from the back of the boat. So in the case of Brian, he downsized his bait. He went to ultra finesse, what I like to call ultra finesse. So drop shots, small worms on a drop shot, small swim baits like a 2.75-inch rage swimmer, really small baits, a lot of spinning rods, a lot of light line. Or you can go the route of Casey. He took 3 or 4 rods with him, all with big baits, and said, you know what, I'm either going to catch a couple big ones or I'm not. And that was his train of thought to try to win as well. So there's actually 2 different trains of thought when you're talking about fishing as a co-angler. You know, another really good friend of mine, Rondell Joseph, he's from around the Conroe area. He's fished co-angler for a really long time and actually used to practice with me for a really long time as well. Rondell would actually kind of try to blend both things. You know, he would always throw a little bit of finesse, but he'd always start the day trying to catch a kicker. And he would throw big baits, trying to catch that kicker fish right off the bat, so all he had to do the rest of the day was focus on smaller fish. You know, just trying to catch keepers, whether it would be on a shaky head, a slider head, a drop shot, a Ned rig, whatever it was, that's what he focused on in the later part of the day. He didn't just start with finesse, he just kind of transitioned through it throughout the day. You know, a lot of times we get a little bit too stubborn, or we let what the pro does really control what we do. And I think that's the worst thing in the world that you can do. You know, that pro has spent his time out there. He's practiced. He's worked his butt off. And he's found some fish. And he's going to put you around them. You know, the cool thing about Brian New is Brian New would never let things fluster him. He never got frustrated if his guy wasn't on fish. He actually took it as an opportunity to find more and catch more, because the guys that did have bad practices or maybe weren't quite dialed into the pattern, Brian actually caught more fish with those guys because they would be around areas that had fish, but they hadn't quite dialed in exactly how to catch them. And a lot of times Brian would dial them in from the back of the boat. So don't take a bad draw to heart. Like, you can make the best of any situation that you're into when you're fishing on the back of the boat. You know, one of the best things you can do is take it day by day. You know, if you pull up to the ramp and your guy says, man, I'm just telling you right now, we're not going to catch them. Well, he might not catch them. But that doesn't affect me, because I'm going to figure out a way to catch them. I don't care if he's going between docks 100 miles an hour or fishing offshore on a ledge. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to take it as a challenge to figure out how to catch at least one fish that day. If 2, 3, 5, whatever it is, I'm going to figure out a way to catch a fish behind that guy. So a lot of times it has to do with ourselves. You know, we overthink things. We kick ourselves in the butt and tell ourselves that we can't do something, or we get in a mentality of like, well, I got a bad draw, I'm screwed. That is literally the worst thing you can do to yourself. So guys, I hope you take this as some positive reinforcement to help you the next time you're on the water. Don't let what your pro says or does truly affect the outcome of your event, because at the end of the day, you're in control of how you do in the tournament, and it's all about how you prepare and the mentality that you take into that boat. I hope you like this video. If you do, drop a like on it and comment below. It's maybe a situation where you could have done something better, or maybe one of your favorite co-angler baits Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.